Okay, I'm going to call the Childcare Initiative Committee meeting of the Ickenburg Support Authority to order at 4 o'clock p.m. Our first item, we actually have a presentation, and I'm not sure if you can say your name, Dr. Neopo. Childcare degree program, and so whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Yes, she's muted. She's still muted though. She might not be at her computer because we're just seeing wall. So
I'm not sure she's on yet, Tony.
Okay. Do we want to move ahead and just talk about the survey?
Her mic just turned on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just having trouble hearing you, so I apologize for that.
I am also having a hard time hearing Tony. I can hear those of you in the boardroom just fine, but it's Tony that we can't hear.
We should move it closer if it'll fit. Slide it down the table a bit.
And I'm not sure, can you see my video?
No.
Okay.
Tony, we moved you down. Do you want to just speak a little bit, see if that's any better for everybody?
Sure. Can everyone hear me a little bit better?
It's not connecting.
Thumbs up from Nicole.
Oh, it is on that. Okay. Sorry.
Maureen, we can see you now.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, yeah, Maureen, I think, Maureen, you're all set now?
I think so, yes.
Maureen, I'm Steve Lawrence, I'm the Executive Director, and to my left is Patty Nisco, she's our CFO, and our Chairman, Reed Vernon Burns. And
Wonderful.
you'll see Nicole Terminelli is there, you'll see her on screen, and we have Tony Kennedy, who is the committee chairman. She's on the phone here.
Okay, great. It's nice to meet all of you, and I do appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about all things childcare and the early childhood programs that we have at SUNY Canton.
Well, Tony, do you want to take it away then and kind of either answer questions, or maybe Maureen, you could give us a little bit more background to the program, if you would.
Sure, thank you. I'd love to. So I've been at SUNY Canton now for 16 years, and prior to arriving at SUNY Canton, I owned a childcare center in Stoughton, Massachusetts, which is about 20 miles south of Boston. And I had about 60 children in that program. It ran a full year, full day, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And along the way, taught as an adjunct at several schools, and then decided to take the plunge and become a full-time instructor. And that's what enticed me to enter SUNY Canton's program because of the applied learning component that comes with that. When I arrived at SUNY Canton, we had an Associate of Science degree in Early Childhood Studies. That was a 2-year program. And we had, at that time, close to 60 or 70 students enrolled. And my affiliation with childcare in St. Lawrence County was our students completed 200 hours of student teaching experiences in local Head Starts, childcare centers, even family childcare provider homes as well. Some UPK classrooms and kindergarten classrooms as well. But I think what makes our program quite different and distinctive, we are not a New York State teacher certified program. Our students basically are specialized in all things childcare and early care and ed required birth through age 5 exclusively. We do have the UPK and kindergarten options because some of my students do go on and become public school educators, so it's nice to have them have that formative years experience. I worked really hard to establish a 4-year program, and I'm quite proud to say that in fall of 2018, we got SUNY and state ed approval for a Bachelor of Business Administration and Early Care and Education. And that allows for my students to progress from the 2-year program to the 4-year program, advance their skill set. It's catered towards those students who really want to lead, direct, as an assistant director, or even a child care center owner, and follow that pathway. So they've got the foundation of the child development and early education courses, but then there's a whole bunch of business courses they take as well. One course in particular is all about regulations. It's called Policies and Regulations in Early Childhood Settings, because that's half the battle. You've got to learn like the back of your hand. I tell them the regulations in order to be able to ensure that the program is running smoothly and effectively and is of high quality. We have another course specifically for early childhood development and management, and then some of our wonderful courses that we offer through our business department. So the 4-year program started in fall 2018. It has, and I'm not surprised, surpassed the enrollment that we thought we would have. We have 54 students now in our BBA program. And a lot of those students are working in the field. Maybe they never completed their 4-year degree or have their 2-year degree. They want to advance in the early care industry, and they find this is a feasible way to do so, given the fact that both degrees now can be taken fully on campus, online, or a combination of both. So that's quickly the version of the SUNY Canton Early Childhood Programs. And so when I came to understand your initiative and what you were planning for, obviously this is a wonderful opportunity for the programs and our students who are place-bound, who don't want to leave St. Lawrence County, but want to explore the child care industry in those avenues, because we don't have that many child care centers in the North Country. So, you know, this is a wonderful means for my graduates and my students to perhaps have an internship or a placement site in the Ogden-Spartanburg area, or just for, again, their professional career advancement.
Maureen, are you there?
Yes.
So as you mentioned, I mean, we're in desperate need for, you know, child care opportunities in the county. For your students that graduate with the early childhood degree, how many of your students would you say, if they're placed with a job, they're placed with a job because they had to relocate somewhere else? Like, is more than half of your students, like so many of your students actually had to relocate in order to get a job where they graduated?
Nicole, I'm sorry. I mean, not Nicole. I'm having a hard time understanding the question and hearing it. Nicole, did you understand? Okay.
No, I couldn't hear it either.
I can, basically what Tony's asking is, how many of your graduates had to leave the area? And she's just saying, is it half, is it a third, or in order to find, you know, meaningful a placement in childcare? Did I rephrase that okay, Tony, for you?
Yes, I'm just wondering, yeah, exactly, how many students have to leave the area to find employment?
Sure, I can absolutely answer that question, Tony. Many have found employment in childcare. Many have established their own family childcare, but a larger majority have left the childcare industry. First of all, limited opportunities, and secondly, poor compensation, poor salary, and limited benefits. So I would say that those who seek employment are finding it, but I don't think many don't last a long time in the local child cares. I think that's an issue that Nancy Addison from Canton Daycare Center and Lori Moulton struggle with at SUNY Potsdam. they have these wonderful teachers, these wonderful graduates coming into their programs, but these students don't want to live with their parents forever. You know, they want to have an apartment, they want to get a car. And so the turnaround of staff is a huge issue in our childcare centers locally. It is nationally, but I see it more so in St. Lawrence County because of the limited positions that are available anyway. Many of my graduates are at Head Start. Head Start, again, isn't the highest salary by any means, but there's room for career advancement and a lot of free trainings and some tuition reimbursement. So there's benefits that they get there that they don't necessarily get in a smaller childcare center environment.
Did you get that, Tony?
I did. So it sounds like a lot of the graduates find somewhere to start, but there's no room for advancement in their career once they get a little bit of experience somewhere. Like Head Start, there's really nowhere else in the county going to go after that. So to get kind of career advancement or higher salary, it seems like they may be in the industry.
Again, I'm just having a really difficult time hearing Tony. I apologize.
Yeah, totally.
Steve, if you want to just kind of translate for me, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, now I've lost exactly what you're talking there, so I'm not.
I think she was just reconfirming that the industry as a whole doesn't allow for the advance within the industry, at least in St. Lawrence County in the North Country.
And I think the larger corporate sponsored childcare centers, such as Bright Horizons, La Petite Academy, there's a whole bunch, KinderCare, there's Child World. I mean, they will take on someone as a TA and they want to mold and craft them, and you can make a decent amount of money with really good benefits as well. So I think some of our students would gravitate towards one of those corporate sponsored childcare centers that are very well established and have the revenue in which to support that training and advancement. Not to say that we can't do it here, right? We just need to have the backing and support to make it happen.
Maureen, I've got a question kind of related to that. In that, why is it national franchise childcare entities, they don't gravitate up this way? Based on your experience, do you have an answer to that?
Yes, I do. You know, any child care is only as successful as the number of enrollments that they have, because enrollment sustains a child care center. So the more populated areas is where the corporate sponsored child cares will be. For instance, in Boston, you're going to have Bright Horizons, multiple. One, they're catering toward to the whole hospital organizations that exist. They're offering round-the-clock care. Believe it or not, there's 24-hour child care because doctors and nurses have varied hours and varied shifts. And so I think they're where they're going to find the needs for that particular setting, that particular locale. So they tend to be in more, like I said, in cities, in much more populated areas with working professionals.
So as a follow-up question, would you say that it would be difficult for our organization to try to entice a outside franchise type of entity to come up here and operate a facility that we put in place?
You know, that's a very good question. I'm not sure. I really don't. I can't answer that. I have never worked for Bright Horizons, although I think they're an incredible company and it's something worth exploring. You can just go on their webpage and check them out. I don't know if they say they have to have X amount of number of children enrolled, and if we had to give those projections as what we would see as enrollment. I'm not quite sure, but it would be phenomenal to have such a company come on board. and support.
I know, generally speaking, with a lot of businesses that relate to Northern New York, if they're a top tier franchise in restaurants, hotels, or anything, they don't want any type of failure to ruin the brand. And so they hesitate, like up here, you get kind of second tier franchise because the business isn't here and the money's not here. So I just wondered if that might be something that would figure into that kind of equation about someone coming up here.
I'm sure it does. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Big business wants to ensure that they're going to come here and they're going to be strong. So that probably is a real good reason for why they wouldn't be interested. But I'm not saying that that's sometimes a good thing though too, right? Because you can mold and shape a childcare center based on the needs of St. Lawrence County, and who better knows the needs of St. Lawrence County than the individuals that reside here and work here. So, you know, I think about the North Country Children's Museum, and they're not really emulating any large scale children's museum. They're doing a really good job at implementing and creating a space that really does recognize the special, unique place in which we're in. So sometimes it's nice when you have folks that really truly understand childcare, and there's some that can come in as consultants and they'll talk about design and structure and costs for startup. I would say if you haven't visited yet, SUNY Potsdam Child Care Center, Lori Moulton is phenomenal. Brand new facility. I think they opened it up 4 years ago maybe. Prior to that, they were in Merritt Hall with renovated classroom spaces. And they used an outside consultant to come in, and with Lori's expertise and their expertise with architecture and design, created a wonderful childcare center. So, you know, would it be great if we had Bright Horizons come in? Sure, but do we need Bright Horizons to come in, and can we justify the cost for doing so if they even agree to it?
Okay, good, thank you. I'll let somebody else ask some questions here.
Sure.
Maureen, your internship, is that by semester?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Will you provide a internship for students, is that by semester?
We have in our 2-year program, the students go out in their 4th semester, which is their final semester. Prior to that, they're taking courses where they might be observing, but their true internship is in the 4th semester. In the bachelor's degree, they have an internship, and that's in the final semester, and that would be their 8th semester of study.
Are those paid?
The internships, are they paid? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. No, the students, when they go out into their field placement in the 4th semester, 8th semester, those are volunteer experiences. The site mentor, our classroom mentor, is required to observe the students. The students implement lessons and activities with children based on whatever criteria and content we have stipulated in our syllabi, but it is not a paid internship.
Thank you.
Hi, Maureen, how are you?
Good, how are you, Nicole?
Good, thank you. I'm just wondering, as part of, I'm thinking more in the BBA program, as part of their coursework, do they ever study regional trends that you would have information about the needs regionally and locally, or as part of that work, analyzing a region and looking at the needs and best fit models, things like that?
We don't do anything like that in our courses, and we certainly touch upon, you know, where childcare is at in the present. But as far as creating a business plan, the students are required to do that project in the business courses they take, not in our ECHD courses. So, for example, in our students have to take the Intro to Business course, Small Business Development course, and I know that one of the professors in those courses has them create a business plan where they do have to look at the regional and town census and all of those things to figure out if they were to devise this child care center, does that particular area have a need for it? So a needs assessment is part of that. And I know that you are probably very familiar with the Child Care Council in Ogdensburg, but they also have a lot of information about needs assessments regionally and in the county. So it's another great place to tap into. When I had a course in the 2-year program that the students did a business plan and they did a budget of a child care center. I did away with that once we got approval for the 4-year because that's taken care of in those last 2 years of that 4-year study. And we always referred the students to go to the Child Care Council because they had that information for them. They wouldn't have to be starting from scratch.
Thank you. Yes, they have proven to be a very good resource.
Yeah, lots of good technical assistance for someone who aspires to open up a family childcare or a childcare center. They can offer a lot of guidance in that regard as far as what's required by Office for Children and, again, you know, assistance with a survey or a needs assessment, which is, of course, critical. Because, you know, we're asked often, oh, we should have an on-site campus childcare center at SUNY Canton. And as much as there may be an interest in doing so, is the need there, right? And so, you know, that's one thing that I always say, well, first you have to start with the assessment of the needs, because what we might be thinking in our head may not be actually true. And I will tell you that what I do know is that there seems to be a real lack of infant toddler child care options available across the county. We take care of a lot of preschoolers, you know, the age of 3, 4, and 5, but not so much for infant and toddler care. And we do have a lot of wonderful licensed family child care providers, in other words, providing home out of their residence, but they're really restricted with how many infants they can have and how many toddlers they can have. They're restricted with their enrollment. So there is definite need for infant toddler care.
The family care centers, I know in my local area, Messina, you're right, there are just some fantastic homes that offer fantastic care, but they're booked out for sometimes years. They know who's coming in next as families grow. They take those spots right up, so they're filled, and there's quite constantly a waiting list with those.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole. And I know in my experiences having my own child care center, if you had one child, you got all of the siblings and all of their cousins and all of their neighbors. So, you know, it was frustrating when a family would call and say, well, I want my child to attend. And I'd say, well, you're on a wait list. Like, wait a minute, it's 9 months out. Why is there a wait list? You know, so because when someone's happy, like any business, if someone's happy with the services they're receiving, they're going to stay, you know, for the long haul, which makes it really such a rewarding profession, because you could have children from infancy all the way up until they were 5 or 6 years of age, and then you've got all the siblings as well. So it's a wonderful, wonderful field.
Anybody, Tony, do you have anything that you can relay to Maureen questions you may have?
No, I don't have any. I just appreciate you coming and speaking with us.
Yes, Maureen, I really appreciate you reaching out. We've had a number of people that really have seen what we've been doing and have, like yourself, and contacted us. And we've always welcomed the opportunity to speak at our committee. Can I ask you, just in a general sense, you operated a child care facility. Can you just give us just how you look at, and I think you did a little bit, but how you see what you've seen in the papers and what you know about us and how it relates to the area? I think you kind of touched on it at the beginning, but as a child care, you know, in your previous experience, I wondered, I'd like to have your opinion on, you know, what you think of what we're doing here.
I think what you're doing here is wonderful. I think it is a definite need. Like Nicole and I had just said, the family child care centers or licensed home centers they don't have the openings to assist the parents. And another huge issue to consider too is what kind of program you're going to have. Because I know that I'd have loved to open up my childcare center at 9 a.m. and close at 5, but that was not providing a service for working families. So it was open at 7 and it was closed at 6 because that's what the families needed. And it was full year and with a kind of relaxed summer program, but still those full day hours. That said, though, I was always like, you have to be one step ahead of what those needs might be, right? So we had part-time programs and full-time programs, you know, pretty much whatever parents needed, if it was feasible for us to do it and we could stay within our staff child ratio, I provided whatever the parents needed. So I think just having, going in and thinking about this being a full day, full year service, but then part of that needs assessment is it's critical to know what those parents' needs are, because I think that Tony had mentioned, you know, it's fine, you can find a childcare, but they're not open early enough, or they don't stay open late enough for parents to be able to utilize those services to their advantage. So flexibility, I think, is key in planning as well.
No, we appreciate that input, Maureen. We're taking notes here. And it's all been so helpful. We may ask you to come back when at any time, just to maybe help us out with your opinion or viewpoint or the way you see things. But we certainly value your experience. So we like to keep an open invitation at times to bother you a little bit.
Oh, it's not a bother at all. It's my life's work and it's my passion, and I'm here to help and assist in any way. Most of us in early childhood are pretty nice people, so I see what you're doing, though. It's not only supporting my programs and my students, but supporting families who are in desperate need of what I'll say is high quality childcare experiences. And I just want to add too, that can happen. And I always refer to, I never say daycare. I frown upon it. I prefer early care and education, because the age and stage, birth up through age 5, is the most critical and formative years of development for a child. And I think that when I have a group like you sitting before me who wants to open up a high quality childcare and sees that need and is taking all of these steps cautiously to learn about the profession, about the childcare industry, and what a quality early program should look like and should be, it's inspiring. So I'm always here if you need me. Thank you so much.
Maureen, before you go, Sam Burns, chair of the board, we've been in this for maybe 6 months now. Just my observation. I don't know if the others are willing to share this with you, but I will. It's been my observation that this whole child care, I don't know, organization or whatever industry up north seems to have a problem getting together and advocating for itself. And I'm wondering if you might have any ideas, maybe not today, but down the road, how we can strengthen that so that whatever there is out there, everyone knows about it, and it's strong and it's good for the North Country. Whatever your thoughts are on that.
Excellent question. You know, we have the National Association for the Education of Young Children, which is a professional organization for anyone in early care and ed. And then we have our state affiliates. So we have the New York State. And it would be wonderful if we could, you know, bring that down a little bit to maybe a St. Lawrence County organization within that overarching, because I do think we're in silos. I don't think that yet we've come together as a collective group. which is unfortunate. So I think, you know, and maybe it's something that I can look into doing too, is forming some type of just maybe even just a St. Lawrence County coalition of sorts that has the child care center directors such as Nancy and Laurie who work for years providing care, and the council can be a part of that, and even Head Start. So, you know, it's making me think, yeah, we probably should be working towards some type of unified organization so that we can, I mean, collectively be stronger than individually in our word, in our mission and philosophy. Good thought.
I'm glad you see it the way I do, and since Tony and Nicole, they don't do anything else, they may as well get more involved in it. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks again, and reach out to me anytime. Always happy to help.
Thank you, Maureen. So nice to meet you.
You too, Nicole. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Good evening.
Good night.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was great. Looking at our agenda, our next thing is the community-wide survey. I'm not able to see what you guys can see. Is someone able to bring up the Google Drive and Google Documents that like Nicole made and sent with us? Because I uploaded a community survey document. I was hoping we could pull that up and look at it.
Where do you have it?
Where is it, Tony?
There was a folder that Nicole shared with us not too long ago, like when the committee first started.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can just email the document to Anne-Marie, whichever would be bigger.
That's easiest in there, email to you?
No, if it's on the drive, I should be able to pull it up here.
It's on the drive and other supporting documents once you're in the Child Care Initiative Committee folder.
Okay. And it's called the Community Needs Survey?
Yeah, there it is.
Yes,
Okay.
We're gonna pull it up right now, Tony.
perfect, thank you.
And I'll share my screen so Nicole can see it.
Thank you. I have it in front of me, but thank you. I always like to see it on here instead of my phone.
Okay.
Is that it,
Does
Tony?
everyone see it?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys want to like go through it. These are just kind of things that I have put together just based on looking at other community surveys, because a lot of communities have actually done them. So there or to kind of look at things that we had talked about that we thought, you know, would want to ask. So these are kind of my initial thoughts for the survey, the questions that we should ask, you know, the information that we're kind of looking for. And I just wanted to get input before I kind of put together like a formal, you know, professional document and send out.
Tony, I just have to adjust to the
Keep going,
screen.
keep going, Tony, keep going. Oh, was that whole line?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously not to be the format, these were just kind of my thoughts. I mean, I think it's really important to know what are people's, you know, occupation situations. Are they working full time? Are they working part time? Are they full time homemakers? Some of them have like PM work. And even like students are going to need child care. So I think it's important to kind of see where people are. And then, I mean, when you see where they are, or maybe where they want to be, because you do that as part of the survey, like if you're not working full time, you want to be, you know, something we can have kind of a question kind of gauging what people are currently doing for their employment. And then, of course, the questions that follow that, or, you know, what days you work, what hours you work, just to kind of know, I mean, are most people working Monday to Fridays? Are there's people working shift work, you know, I think it's important to know because, you know, for daycare or for childcare, there are a lot of people that work shift work, they work every other weekend, but a lot of daycares require you to pay for a full-time spot. But you know, you might be working for your shift a week, every other weekend, so there might be weeks where you're home all week, but you still have to pay for daycare. So I think things like this would be good to know. And of course, family demographics are obviously important. How many children they have, the ages of the children. So moving on to like number 6, I think it's important to say, would you use a daycare facility if there was one available? A lot of people may not use a facility. Maybe right now they have a staying home, or they're using a grandmother, another relative. So I think it's important to say, if there was one, would you use it? There were a lot of surveys that I have seen that, like, certain locations, I'm not sure if that's, you know, exactly what we should do, because we obviously only have limited places available.
Sure, but I would ask somebody about the
Right, keep going, Tony.
As far as opening, obviously, we could or not ask this, I mean, there were a lot of surveys that had like multiple choice questions, like I feel that the facility should open at, you know, 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. And then of course, same thing with closing times. I think the facility should close at 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m., 6:30. I mean, these are just kind of ideas. We obviously could see an open and close time based on the shifts and the hours that they work. But that's just kind of more demographic stuff. And then we're getting into number 9. You know, I think it's important, especially after our talk to ARC, there are a lot of children that either need services or are getting services, maybe in like a early beginner or like an early childhood program, or maybe they have like a physical therapist, these therapists come to their home. So I think it's important to ask what services their children need or currently getting, because that might factor into some people's care. They might want to send a child to a place that's going to provide, you know, that physical therapy, you know, during the day. And of course, it's important to ask like, what kind of programming they're looking for. Do they want to be more like a social emotional program? Do they want more academic-based programs? Do they want it to be more like a healthy food, healthy lifestyle? Do they want a daycare that is doing arts and crafts? And I think with, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm thinking all the above.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, there's some people might hear towards the other. I know, like, Head Start is more, you know, social emotional, whereas UPK is more academic. So a lot of families, both of those programs are half day. So some parents send their child to one for half a day and then the other to the other half, so they get both. There's some parents who are like, my child is 4, they're really, really young. I'm not really focusing on math and reading. I really want to work on behavior. I really want to work on this social interaction. We live in a really rural town and they don't really see a lot of other kids. So I think it's actually important to kind of ask what parents find most important.
Okay, well, you could do it sort of as a bullet point check here,
Yeah.
as Steve just said.
Oh, but I think the format needs to change.
That's what I was thinking with these types of questions,
Okay,
kind
all
of
right.
formatted to be like.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I can format that in the Google form. There's all different options for formatting.
Oh, good.
Perfect. Yeah, I think this definitely won't be the way it's formatted, but
Right,
and with this, with number 11, the check everything, you know, I think, yeah, we would have little check boxes where we would say in the last 3 years, these are the barriers to me, the cost of childcare, transportation to and from childcare, the scheduling, like I can't find childcare that offers care for the hours that I work. I can't find dependable care, you know, we have a babysitter the next day I go. Some people may not be having the partner there, or maybe get friends from each child and get fine now. So I think it's really important to ask about barriers. And I feel like that's probably incidents that we had. And then I think it's also important to say, okay, what type of care do you need? You're looking for full time, or like I said, I know a lot of employers are looking for work. They might only need half-time care. I have older children that just need care, you know, before after school. I don't really want to ask people if they will income. I put that on, just like I said, in the working document. I think it would be more appropriate to ask what are you willing or what are you able to pay for child care each week, rather than, you know, ask people their income. But obviously that's important to factor in is what people are able to pay for child care.
Yeah, I think we agree the, income, declaration, no.
Okay, right, okay.
I
perfect.
agree. I don't think there's a need for it either. And as far as what they're willing to pay, we've already kind of established that we're going to use the countywide average that people are paying on average as our, we would be in line with that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Nicole, you don't think we need to even ask about cost at all?
I mean, I don't personally, you know, if people that are under income, they're going to be eligible to get, you know, some aid or assistance with that. And we've kind of already been told what they offer at the other childcare centers around here as far as what the tuition is, and it's, you know, it's similar across the board. And I know that no matter what, we're not going to go either far below that or far above it. We would like to stay in line. The last thing we want to seem like we're doing is trying to compete with any other childcare center. So I would say that we would stick to, you know, whatever. What that tuition, that average tuition is, and stick right in line with that.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm good.
And of course, the last thing I put on is what are you currently doing, whether they're looking for child care, they're staying home, maybe they have a friend watching their child that they would prefer to have a center, but they're just not available. And then my last kind of final thought was maybe we should have like a rating, like on a scale of, or, you know, here's 6 things, rate the most important to what's the most important. The program that they offer was like a global pandemic. You prefer a nice facility, a nice environment, more small group sizes, things like that. So those are just kind of my thoughts based on some other community survey needs that I saw, as well as what I think we would need to know.
Very good, Tony.
That looks good, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's just the right size.
Anybody has any input before? My plan after this was to format this to look like a more professional survey that is ready to be sent out. So I'll put some documents on the shared file, but if you guys have anything to add or anything you want to delete, just let me know now. Format it and then send it out for you guys to approve via email.
Sounds good to me.
Me too.
I'm sorry, and I didn't hear the end of that. Did you say that you are formatting a questionnaire?
That was my plan, unless anyone has any other.
No, that's
ideas.
fine. I believe at our last meeting, I had said that I would do a Google form that we could email out or send out to businesses, but if you'd prefer, that's fine. I just know, and Google form, to pull back the data and analyze it is much easier than sifting through piles of paperwork. So that I was just thinking, but by all means.
Yeah, Nicole, no, that's a good idea. I mean, whatever makes it easier to see the results, that's totally fine with me. I just want to make sure that we push together, set it up as soon as we can.
All right, I like that part, as soon as we can. In fact, what?
Maybe we can follow up, just me and you emailing, just to put something together through the Google form tabling that.
Tony, what are you looking at, timetable for getting this survey out?
Well, we're coming up on summer, so I think a lot of parents are probably thinking really hard about childcare right now, because they're gonna be out. I would hope we could get it out by summer.
1 July?
End of the month,
That was my hope, yeah.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good, okay. All right,
we'll get to it.
yep.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
writing-
start drafting. I'll start drafting the survey, and I'll actually put the link to the Google Form survey right into this document so that you guys can see the work in progress.
Oh, that would be great, perfect.
Good.
Okay, so if, nobody has anything about that, we'll move on and review the, planning document. Steve has sent to us. Steve, I don't know if you wanna talk about the document.
Sure, I'll kind of give you my overview of how I set this up. And as I said in the last meeting, I'm kind of, I like, not the most perfectly organized, but I need, planning's always been something that I've stressed. So this is kind of where this is coming from. And overall, if you look at all of this, a lot of it, I would say 90% of it is all about the facility. And I know a lot about that, and so I feel like that's what I'm emphasizing. And if you look in phase 2, it says request for proposals for childcare facility operators. That really is gonna be probably a separate thing because it's so important. But I just wanted to put it in there and where I thought it fell in line with all of our planning. And there's a lot of factors that are gonna change the times on these, but, so let's look at phase 1, and my whole idea with this is that we start nailing down all the things in those phases so that we have a pretty good idea of where we're headed, but also we don't have to go back over other things that we've already agreed upon so that we can keep our energy kind of moving forward and on the task at hand. So I was just, and there's things that you also can add to this, but this is just my first shot at it. So let's just talk about phase 1 for today. And I'll go through it, but I'm just saying, let's talk about project feasibility. Some of these, I think we already know the answer to, but I just had to put them out there in case there's some things you'd like to add to it or some opinion you may have. But I'd say, need to have a strong project concept. I think we all would agree that that we've done a pretty good job moving forward. We're not complete yet, but I don't feel I feel pretty confident in the way that we're headed. Let me ask the group, would you agree? Tony, would you agree with that? That we're there, or do you have some reservations about something?
No, I agree. I think we're all on the same page. We're all, thinking the same timeline and the same type of care. But I think that's an accurate summation of where we're all.
Nicole?
Agreed, for sure.
Okay. Chairman Burns? Okay, I just, so what I guess what I'm saying, so we can put that one to bed. That's kind of, and there's going to be things that we can add, but these are the things that I've come up. Demonstrate a need in the local area. Well, we just got through doing all of that, and we're not complete yet, but we're on our way to that. So, we can't cross it off, but I think we'd all agree that we realize that how important that is, and especially what Maureen expressed to us there. And then this one, I'll explain why I'm asking this, but I need to ask it of the group. Does the OBPA have enough organizational capacity to take on time-consuming and ambitious effort and be able to build sufficient support inside and outside the organization? You all are pretty familiar with groupthink, and once something gets in motion, and I've experienced at different times, is that it's very hard to turn it around, especially if it's not going in the right direction. So you know, I know that's this is an obvious question, but I think it's something that, we need to consider. Patty and I talked about it, and, having, board members so involved, such as yourself, Nicole, Tony, and Sam, I feel with, that kind of involvement, it takes a lot. It's reassuring, I'd say. So, you know, from my point of view anyway, I think the answer is, yes. Knowing that we will need support all the way around from, individuals, in all kinds of areas, and I think some of that surprisingly has come through for us already. Would anybody like to comment on that?
That's why I asked that question I did. Maureen, again, I think we need to build a strong organization, not just here. And I think the committee's doing an excellent job. But luckily, Tony and Nicole, you know, you've had outside people speak to us. It certainly helps me. And getting together with these different groups, and I think Maureen hit on it. She sees it. We need to have a little bit better organization countywide so that we can advocate for each other. So I think, Steve, that's where that one bullet is headed. I think that's where I see it.
Okay, thank you. Tony and Nicole?
I agree. I think that we are off to a great start as far as forging positive relationships and partnerships with other organizations in St. Lawrence County and even beyond the borders of St. Lawrence County through the ARC as well. And I do think that while our initial goal was to assess the needs of a child care facility and then move in the direction of establishing one here, I do think that we have identified a greater need in the area, and that is a supportive effort or group for all of these organizations that support young children, birth through, you know, school-age children. And I think that, you know, regardless of how this goes and where we end up and where that needs to become a secondary mission throughout our work together as a group, is to support these individual groups and entities and to try to establish that St. Lawrence County Association of Child Care Workers, invested parties.
Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yep, I'm here.
Nicole, Tony we just lost her on the line, so she just rang in, but I'm sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
That's it. We're good. I'm good. I'm done. Period.
Okay, Tony, did you have something? Where did we lose you?
Just like a minute ago,
Okay, well,
I didn't hear what Nicole said, but that's about it.
okay, well, she amplified a lot of the things that we heard, but also she said that secondarily we need to, Nicole, I guess you said secondarily we need to support the whole concept and the needs of the community as far as what we're doing here. Is that quite right?
Yes, that is quite right.
Okay. Go ahead, Tony, just commenting on that last bullet point, if you have anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll actually have a lot of people reach out and say that they're taking this on because there isn't really a lot of childcare in the area. So I definitely think we're going to have a lot of outside support, and it sounds like, I mean, we've all been working very hard on this and have produced successful meetings in the last couple months. So that's enough to me that we have a lot of support inside the organization as well. So I'm actually pretty confident about the support that we have from everyone involved.
Okay, thanks. Patty, would you comment on that? No, you're good. Okay.
It's all rest on the chair of the committee, right, Tony?
One thing, I just along that line too, that and I kind of mentioned it, was the project may and it probably will gain a certain momentum, and that momentum all heads in a certain way, and at times there may be things that don't feel quite right to you. Do not be afraid to voice your opinion, because what happens is we can get headed down a certain way that either maybe everybody else is, or not everybody, but a number of people are feeling the same way that you are, and just are too afraid to say something. And I think we know each other well enough to eliminate that, but I just want to say that I will support, different points of view, because I think it's going to make it better. It's just, I don't want to be, as a group, going in the wrong direction, just because of the momentum of the project. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It's like that is here.
Tony, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go through the whole really quickly, and probably spend a little more time on phase 2 than the rest of those, but just if you've got any questions on some of the bullet points. But in phase 2, where there'll be an overlap, but we go June to September of 2021. Successful projects happen with the right people. We have the board of directors, staff, and committee personnel. We've already availed ourselves of certain experts, the ARC, jumping to St. Lawrence County, the Childcare Council, Maureen, Nancy over at Canton Daycare, and then there's other people that you've already spoken to. We have supporters. We're looking for help from Commerce Park tenants, area business, government entities, New York State, county, and local government representatives and legislators. We have legal help that we've already asked for some help on our initiative, and that was our Velaz law firm. Engineers over in the park, we've partnered with Pistol Associates, and a lot of surveyor work been done out here with WCC surveyors. That doesn't mean they're the ones locked into this, but I'm just kind of making you aware of people that are going to help. We have contractors. Then on the request for proposal, that's just really dealing with when we get around to talk about who we'd like to see operate this, so that you see all of that in there. And we will talk in great detail later on, but I don't see that. I see in some ways we talk about it, but it'll really take place, I think, toward late summer or early fall. On the financing end, we need to determine project costs. We've got a rough idea of that. I broke that down into hard costs: land, buildings, equipment, construction contingency, and with that, a preliminary estimate of 1.8 million. Then soft costs, professional services, soft cost contingencies, and other fees of 300,000. And so we have an initial estimate of 2.1 million. The next item is funding sources, and I put in parentheses, that's a project critical path item. The federal grant award is going to be critical to how we go through with this, and grants and other things are we're going to have some success there in order to proceed. So that is a critical path item. We have submitted a grant request to Senator Gillibrand's office for the 2.1 million, and that was sent at the end of May. We can offer part of that. We do have property, and we do have infrastructure on a piece of land on the Commerce Park campus, so that we can bring that to the project.
Hey, that is a question. I'll try to interrupt you. Do we know when the grant from Senator Gillibrand, do we know when those are supposed to be announced? Do we have any kind of time frame on those?
Not really, but I think the time frame is going to be shorter than what we're normally used to with the grant, because there's a great need to get a lot of those projects all done, or at least fairly completed in the fiscal year 2021-22. So I imagine, we haven't checked lately, but it's only been 2 weeks. But I imagine, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if there is something this summer, like, you know, in another month maybe. A lot of it came at us pretty quickly, so maybe it's even sooner than that. So that's just me, but you know, I can't really say. So you see that in the funding sources, and then securing a site. Basically, we'd you know, I think we're partially there. I have an idea of a site that'll work that eliminates a lot of costs for utilities and infrastructure because of its location. Along that line, you need permits and approvals. And then when you say we determine a consultant, we have to say, well, what do you think of our site? And maybe we check all the boxes and maybe we don't. I think we have a pretty good handle on that. So then phase 3 is facility design. That would be something for mid to late fall of 2021. We'd go for request for proposal for an architectural engineering consultant firm. Then we decide, we select that consultant. They would help us with getting permits and third-party approvals and licensing. And this licensing would be strictly, some of it may be tied to when you're building a facility with grant money, and maybe tied to what we do, what the occupancy is going to be. So some of that may be tied to the childcare facility, and then you see building permits. So I would look. My goal would be to see a preliminary design and rendering of something that's 75% complete by the end of the year for the committee to look at. And then we prepare a detailed construction budget based on all of the things that we would get together and decide what the facility needs. And then you go back and do final design. And then when you have final design, stage 4 would be the construction part of it. And that would be, you go out to bid maybe late winter, early spring, and then start construction. That would be our phase 4, summer of 2022. So that would be, you know, the bid documents, advertisements for bids received. The board would review and approve the low bidder, then the contractor would give out a construction schedule and you'd do groundbreaking. And during the project, there'd be construction administration and inspection, progress meetings, and then you get to the end of it where you do final punch list walkthrough. You'd have as-built drawings and construction closed out, substantial completion. And one thing that phase 5 is really to keep Patty happy is ongoing facility maintenance or repair. We budget adequately for ongoing maintenance services, and then we build a replacement reserve account so that all of the systems in the facility would remain up to date. So I kind of blew through all of that and didn't give you a chance to comment. So Tony or Nicole or Sam, have you got something that you'd like to either add or talk about?
Yeah, first I just want to thank you for putting this document together. Checklists are great for me. That's how I work at my job too. I love checklists, so this is nice to see everything kind of laid out and see, you know, where we're going to be going. It looks like you talked about a lot of the things that we're going to be facing coming up, and I'm sure this is a working document, so if something comes up, you know, we can kind of see where it fits in and we can add it. I think this gives us a great path forward.
Great, yes. I welcome that because, you know, you think about it, and I do it based on my experience. But also, there's some things, especially with the specialty of what we're doing here, that might get left out. So if you see something that needs to be added or talked about, it's in a Word document, and we can keep that as a living document. Nicole?
Yes, it is much appreciated. I think it's nice for all the players at the table, all the stakeholders, to have a very clear path of the different steps. And while some of these phases, while it does seem, literally we have to go in order, some of these phases I think are simultaneous phases, as noted in here. And so I do think that it's important that certain players are going to have certain responsibilities to the success of the group and to the overall project. So I definitely appreciate it, and your time spent helps make our job more clear.
Yeah, and you get it then, because that's exactly, when you look at it, it's not so rigid that, it's all linear. Instead, it all overlaps, and that at times that can be confusing, but also knowing that we can move around and be able to adjust to that will help the overall outcome, I believe.
I agree, and I also think that through sharing this through this meeting, I know we've gotten a lot of media and a lot of outreach. I think sharing it through this meeting, if somebody that's invested in this project or that continues to reach out to us sees something that might help us or guide us along, I think that hopefully this will open the door that they could say, hey, I think you're missing this key part, or doing things a little bit differently or in this order. I think that we have seen that people are supportive and will reach out to help us be as successful as possible.
Yeah, good point. So I think that's the planning document. Then Tony, I have what do we have next?
Anything.
Yeah, just the same the next meeting if nobody has anything else.
Well, if we're gonna have that survey out by, July 1, what works?
We're gonna have another meeting before
Right,
Portland, obviously, just to finalize.
right. Whatever works for you, Tony and Nicole. Since Nicole, this is busy time of the year, at the end of the school year, so whatever works. I'm flexible. I really don't do anything.
And I can make anything work. Like I said, this evening, I can probably, put the survey into a draft form, and I'll put that on there so that people can review it. And I can make sure that it's set, and any reviews when we meet again to review it prior to when we plan to send it out, we can pull it up in real time, and I can make revisions, right in the moment as we see things that need to be shifted around a bit or reworded.
Sounds good. What works for you, Tony?
Pretty much days that I'm not on call work the best. Let's see. Did you want to meet on another Tuesday, like closer to July? I'm thinking either the 22nd or the 29th of June.
Not the 29th.
Okay. The 22nd?
Works for me.
Is that a Tuesday?
It is. It's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today.
All right, that's good. So why don't we plan
At 4?
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, Tony, then?
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Did you hear that, Nicole? Yeah.
I did, thank you.
On the 22nd. Okay, that sounds good then.
Good.
And Nicole, we'll be in touch. We're just kind of working on that before then, so hopefully the 22nd, then we might continue.
She said she'll be all set with just minor changes, Nicole.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I just want to mention is there was some text going around about a really great article and really this and really that. And I had no clue about what was being said. So I was playing internet sleuth trying to figure out, okay, it doesn't sound like bad news. So anyway, I went around asking Patty and Anne Marie and everybody, have you heard anything or whatever? So then Sam topped it off going, I heard that this morning. That was really great. So it dawned on me not till this morning that it could be North Country Public Radio. Well, there's a 6-minute audio on there, and it was very well done. And you got, everybody on there, the comments and everything were just great. It was really kind of brought everybody up to speed on where we were, but I wanted to thank you guys for that was well done.
I thought so too. It was a great article. I'm very happy with how
Yep, very well done.
So I just wanted to mention that. So.
All right, perfect. So we'll end the meeting there, and we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all. Good night.
Oh.
Good night.